Hi guys, TJ here, jumping in at the beginning of the video. Just for 60 to 90 seconds, please don't skip this. It's super important info. First and foremost, if you've been recommended here through the algorithm, through Dark Somnium sharing us, through the collaboration feature, welcome. I hope you have a lovely time here, but please do not start with this particular chapter if you've not heard the rest of the series. This is the 8th chapter in an ongoing series. The link to the playlist is on screen right now. It's all there. It's over 7.5 hours of some of the best acted and hopefully best sound designed, strange, weird experimental horror you will have heard. Come and check this out after you've done that. But this chapter in particular is inspired by Disco Elysium. It's got weird little audio cues for the brain sound, so any of you who've played that game are going to have a good time. If you haven't, you should find this a unique experience. On Monday or Tuesday, I'll be releasing the next chapter, which is Shark Tank. That was inspired by things like Squid Game and Saw. Very, very unique in the way I've approached it. An ensemble cast for both productions. I hope to see you both there. Now, that being said, one of the other things I wanted to mention was I'm going to make a deal with all of you guys. I will not put mid-rolls in any of these videos. Not this 2-hour one, not the 2-hour one next week. In return, I'll only put ads at the beginning and end. But if you like what you hear, if you want to support me, please consider either signing up to the Patreon, which is linked down below, and either choosing a monthly or a yearly option, or there might be a Ko-Fi link or Coffee link. I never know how to pronounce it. That might be down below. Not sure if I'm going to do that yet, which you can basically donate to the price of a cup of coffee just to show your support for what we're doing on the channel, because the algorithm doesn't always pick up what we're doing. That is something that I really wanted to do this time around because these are massive videos. I don't want them to be interrupted by constant advertisements. That's all I wanted to say. I really hope you have a good time with this. If this is not your cup of tea, if you don't like the theming, all I ask of you is to be kind in the comments. That's it. And I hope you have a lovely Halloween. And I'm going to throw it back over to Everett for the beginning of Dusklight Radio. Most heartfelt greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlethems. I eagerly welcome you to Sturgeon's most premier station, Dusklight Radio, hosted by yours truly, the bourgeoisie yet boorish, surreptitiously sumptuous and ferociously forlorn Everett J. Blackwell. Perhaps you know of us Blackwells. We ran Sturgeon's first ever Halloween festival, though back then it was known by another name, one I can't really pronounce in human tongues, but the closest approximation would be the night of the reaping, the sowing, and the offering to the unspeakable things in the deep, deep dark, from which no things emerge but all things return to. Hallowed be their presence for staying in the miasma, keeping us safe from what lays beyond that thin veil separating sane from insane. We are grateful. Oh yes, we are so grateful. May this writhing, slithering, undulating offering of juice, sinew, bone, and blood be enough to satiate you until the harvest begins anew. We are not worthy. No, we are not worthy. It was a long name and never really caught on, no matter how much Oswald and Esmeralda Blackwell, the eccentric twins of Sturgeon's planning committee, tried. Oh, bless those two, always joined at the hip. I'll leave it to you to decide if that was literal or not. Halloween is in full swing here at the station, yes sirree, and I hope you're having a lovely one yourself. I've dressed up as Evelyn Blackwell, and she's gone as me. Oh, how we scared each other with the concept of othering and perception. DJ brought his purple crayon wife out of the magenta chamber for a while to mingle, drawing lipstick on both himself and on us, forcefully. Thank you, TJ. He came dressed as a Victor Mendoza, whatever the hell that is, routinely telling us to suck on D's nuts while squawking and waving around his pretty cure wand. Great-granduncle Van Blackwell came dressed as his favorite employee, though I think he took it a little bit too literally. The skin doesn't seem to fit him so good. Ethan Blackwell came as a repo man, flapping head and disembodied voice full of fear as something kept following him and his magical cart full of stolen goods around. He didn't stay long. Clue Blackwell technically dressed up, in the sense someone put a lampshade over their statuesque head and drew on a big muscle tank top, but either nobody seems to notice or is in too much fear to take it off. Unsure. Tabitha Blackwell brought her A game, dressing up as Tabitha Blackwell, claiming nobody is as scary as her before unhinging her jaw and attempting to devour our mailman whole, all while saying, "You're embarrassing everyone here by resisting. God, you knew this would happen, Bobby. Don't be a dick about this." Jackal Blackwell did not attend, stating they had many a hungry treat awaiting them on the streets of Sturgeon, chopsticks armed and sharpened, a wild look in their eyes. Good hunting. And lastly, Papa Kyle Blackwell came as a sentient spine, broth leaking all over the place and complete with a full spine belt, all still wriggling and gyrating as he turned to make food for his brood. It was a masterful showing for the costume party, but naturally the clear winner was Endicott the Effervescent, Sturgeon's strongest wizard, who came as, quote, the solution to the coming ice age, transmogrified himself into a brick and threw himself at a set-up block of ice, shattering it into uncountable beautiful pieces before huffing on a large container of computer dust and passing out. Global warming is a real issue, folks. Anyway, I'm Dusklight's main and most fabulous half-dead host. My job at this fine radio station is to bring you some of the most twisted, interesting, and downright bizarre tales that I and my wonderful many-legged runners collect from the far corners of Sturgeon and beyond. Some will make you laugh, some will make you cry, and some of you will want to show your appreciation to TJ's long janitorial servitude here at the station, such as commenting, sharing, joining the Patreon, buying his books, or joining our Dusklight Discord. But don't fret, there's a more unique way at your disposal. Simply face away from the closest corner in your room, bend yourself backwards until you can view it upside down, and draw on your lips with purple crayon until you summon the... No, don't do that, listeners. It seems our head janitor TJ snuck in some notes about how to summon the neon god, Aubergine the Unhearing. Just ignore that and maybe do the above suggestions. Leave a comment, join the Patreon, and maybe join the Discord. Now, in lieu of telling you all the dirty details of our upcoming tale, 3Bs in all of Europe, I'll simply let you know that it's the latest chapter in the ongoing Sturgeon experimental series, playlist link below. Writer and janitor TJ Lee is the narrator, Dr. H. Campus, Parietal, and Basal Ganglia, but joining him is an all-star cast, Doc Somnium as Nulldus, Autumn Ivy as Desiree, and please go wish them a congratulations on their new role in the Paranormal Activity game, Mr. Creepypasta, the OG as Magnus, Shakyra Dunn from Ace of Hearts, Power Rangers Zero, and My Dear Nokatan as Amy G. Dollar and Asani, Spirit Voices as Lux and Loubelle, We Try Horror as Saunders, Charon's Tales as Archie, and the incomparable Vidith as Brainstem, Cerebellum, and Gael. Please ensure to show them some love in the comments below. Special thanks must be given first to Mandy Mo for the original beauteous image of me you see when you look at our page, to Sir Gorky for the new rendering of yours truly, and the truly accurately horrifying rendition of our humble studio, to Stefan Koidl for the usage of his phenomenal art for the thumbnail and images on the visualizer, to Miss Nightmare 1983 and Ghost Kid for the alternative thumbnails, to Envato Elements for the superb sound effects, Doc Somnium for being such a gracious yet terrifying sponsor of the channel, and lastly, our music is sourced and provided by Epidemic Sound with gracious thanks. If you enjoy these intros and want to see more, please ensure you've got notifications on and leave a comment for every video you encounter. With that, the sun has set and dusk has crawled into the studio once more. Whether you're working, prepping to sleep, or evading the formless void that will one day consume us all, Blackwell is here to soothe your ears and captivate your soul. Now, close your eyes and take a deep breath. The scene has been set and the light is on. It's time to walk towards it. There are crickets on my skin, scratching their little legs and making a deafening sound in my skull. I feel every hook pierce my skin and send signals to my brain that I need to detach them and comb the area with my nails, pull out all the hairs and leave it smooth. There is a weight on my chest. It bears down on my sternum, and I swear I hear crunches reverberate throughout my torso. I cannot see what it is, but it hums with the crickets. There is something in the corner of my eye, twisting every reflection of me I may catch in the house, on the way home, in any photo ever taken. A malformed, grotesque version of me that smirks back as if it knows it is taking my place and feeding off my energy every day that I let it hog the spotlight. There are crickets on my skin, and they won't stop screaming at me. Out of the endless nothingness, a voice calls.
Putting pieces back together is always difficult, but we do our best with the tools we have. Respond to my voice, formless one, and awaken.
They don't so much as awaken, as they do simply jolt into consciousness. Like that kind of urgent rousing from sleep that brings with it the ancestral hypnagogic jerk which kept us all safe as apes up in the trees. In this instance, however, they are not greeted by the comforts of home, or any kind of comfort, for that matter. They are without form, and sensory information is fleeting. As they take in their surroundings, they cannot tell if they are blind or simply existing somewhere beyond their understanding. It's strange, they think, to acknowledge the surroundings and yet be fully separate from them, existing outside of oneself entirely. Perhaps instinctually, they try to speak. They form the questions in their invisible mind, send the signals racing from the speech center to make the fleshy mess that is the mouth move as the engine of the voice box rumbles to life to produce the consonants and vowels. But of course, nothing happens, for they are without form. Instead, the words project themselves listlessly to this omniscient voice. The tone is unfamiliar to them, and for a moment, they wonder if someone has stolen their thoughts to speak for them.
Where am I? What is this place?
Normal questions, they thought, especially given the circumstances. The voice thought audibly, the sound of which reverberated around the space they occupied, though how the formless one understood that is unclear.
This part is always messy. You forget and I rebuild. You were at the start once more, preparing to attempt it again.
Start what again? Is this heaven? Are you God?
Start life again, my child. Not God in your interpretation, just an invested parent. Shall we get started?
The formless one thought for a moment, unsure of how thoughts even carried themselves here, before stumbling across a vital question that all life asks at least once.
What am I?
A single question with many answers. You are dead. You are struggling. You are a human being. You are vengeance. You are gestating.
Do I have a name?
Once, but it did not fit you. It was a name given, not a name chosen. It was cast aside, among other things. We are here to reshape you. It is up to you to choose your path. Do you accept this?
The formless one did not hesitate in their acceptance. A blinding light burst through the miasma of the void, and 5 distinct shadows formed in the gap.
You must reclaim your identity, find the key components, and undergo the trials to become one once more. Each trial will provide challenges, but you will find a guide along the way. Now, tell me your name.
Lux.
The name shatters windows and sends birds soaring into the air. Trees shake and mountains rumble at the mere mention. They are now Lux. They have always been Lux. The light gives way to a house. It is shrouded in absolute darkness, a facsimile of a home and nothing more. But a single light comes on in the top right window, bringing with it a sense of comfort and familiarity.
Welcome to the beginning of your new world, Lux. You must track down and secure each piece of you that was taken. A light will shine on this house with each successive acquisition. Once you have completed the tasks, you can come home. You are at the steps of the first stage. Your guide awaits you. Be safe, be smart, and be proud. I know you can do it. Trust in your instincts. Trust in Nulldus.
Lux does not yet understand the concept of belonging, but they are coming around to the idea. Opposite the home, a bright red door materializes out of the nothingness and begins rapidly rushing towards Lux. Or perhaps they are rushing towards it, it's hard to say. Regardless, the door swings open and Lux is flung through the archway into an overstimulating environment. The first thing they sense is physical contact, that of the rough carpet pushing against their sternum and knocking the wind from them. A blistering voice bellows in their eardrums as the impact registers.
You are receiving a direct message from Prefrontal Cortex Maximus. Will you accept?
100 billion nerves, trillions of synapses all sending the same message, kid. Lux is a dickhead for making us feel that. Are you happy?
Before Lux can so much as intake breath, another message ricochets around their eardrums.
You are receiving direct messages from B-Stem, Cerebellum, and Parietal of the Loubelle family.
Oh, you want to breathe in? Yeah, no. You got hit hard. Sucks to be you. I'll get to you when I'm ready, bitch. Caught in a cycle of birth and death, we can only view our mortality through a myopic lens as we turn to dust, only to be recycled once more. Your knees feel like broken styrofoam being chewed on by an eager Doberman.
You are terribly overstimulated right now, old chap. Those bright lights, the rough burning sensation of the carpet against your skin, the stench of burned coffee, BO and shame wafting in around you, the noises both inside your head and out there in the flesh zone. Let's not get into what you taste. It's all new, and new is best left unspoken. Good luck.
Overstimulated isn't even the best word. It's just the one Lux's mind finds as the closest approximation. The burning of the carpet against their raw flesh, the sensation of pain erupting through their spine as signals rush out to the rest of the body that it's positioned in a manner that isn't natural. Lights burn the retinas, and the overwhelming sounds of social hustle and bustle assault the ears like the screams of the damned.
Make it stop. Make it stop. Make it stop.
Lux tries to push the words past their teeth, their tongue eager to please its new master as the slimy mass rhythmically dances and enraptures the lips to follow suit. But no sooner had they started their attempt did everything go quiet for Lux. The overbearing bustle became a muffled cadence. The bright lights dimmed to allow a single focal point for Lux to hone in on. A hand clad in complex tattoos, chains and rings reached out. The luminous starlight nail polish shimmering in Lux's eyes as a single internal voice cuts through the malaise.
You are receiving a direct message from Amy G. Dalla. Do you accept?
You do not know this person. You have no reason to trust this person. But the more your eyes focus, the more you realize that their very cadence brings you a sense of comfort. You don't know it yet, but you are in love. Take their hand. Don't look back. Make them your raison d'etre. But don't tell them that. That'd be weird. Just don't say anything. Just smile. Don't smile.
They smell nice. They look nice, old bean. They bring with them the sunshine and the ability to focus. Their voice carries on the wind and makes your heart all aflutter. I don't know how a heart can flutter. It's best not to worry about that.
Yes, best not. We don't want to freak out.
Lux has been staring at the hand for a few seconds before the voice snaps them into reality.
Hey, you're back! Took you long enough. Come on, I'll help you up.
Lux doesn't even think as they take the hand and are hoisted up in one fell swoop.
Life is a series of motions from stagnation and gestation to multitudes and platitudes. We run endlessly for the pursuit of the moons and the stars, but they do not wait for us. When we reach for them, we grasp at nothing, for their light has already died. Reach for your balance, lest you take a tumble into the abyss.
Whoa, you alright? Do you remember how to walk?
Lux looked down at their legs, shabby, shaking stilt-like things propped up by rickety knees. They saw the cuts and felt the bruises. These were legs that had not seen very much action, or perhaps too much. They felt dizzy and balanced against the wall adjacent to the both of them for assistance as they took in deep breaths.
Each intake of breath makes you stronger, so be grateful, I guess. I won't keep helping you just because you need it. Earn your oxygen. Earn your strength. Don't make me regret this.
As they steadied themselves and looked over the drab wallpaper, they noticed the concern written on the face of their assistant. Jet black hair with red tips, complex jewelry and tattoos as far as the eye could see. This person was built for exploration, Lux thought. Kind brown eyes peered back as the lip curled into a friendly smile.
Okay, seems this one was especially tough for you. No matter, it's not our first rodeo. My name is Asani. I'm your guide and friend. Null tasked me with helping you through the stages and getting the items you need. I'm guessing you can't talk right now, huh?
Lux shook their head as Asani sighed, hands on hips and chewing the side of their lip pensively.
Well, nothing more for it. We'll just have to press on. Though...
Asani paused, sighing.
I'll be damned if I know which way is the right way. Might as well be nowhere.
As the two looked around, they took the gravity of their surroundings in fully. The carpet that had the smell of a drab office environment was empty. There was no furniture to speak of, no structures beyond the essential walls and pillars, no windows, no people. In every conceivable direction for as far as their eyes could perceive, it was the same amber hue tinged with magenta from the carpet to the walls and to the ceiling. Asani had read about this. There were few people interested in the unknown who spent time on the internet who hadn't. The idea of a human being falling through the cracks of reality and ending up in the between spaces. The loading room of life itself, colloquially known as the backrooms. Of course, such a space wasn't actually tangible, Asani thought. Collective human consciousness was powerful, but enough to turn folklore into reality. Or maybe... Asani's heart beat that little bit faster as she realized this wasn't a dream, and Lux met her gaze. Asani swallowed, the minimal saliva scraping across her throat and causing more harm than good. All systems were now on alert. Or maybe some slither of memory in that reptilian brain of ours allowed the tiniest fragment of this place to remain, just enough to know it is to be feared when we enter it. Still, Asani had done this before. She just had to trust the process.
So, north or south?
Asani said, forcing a smirk and looking at Lux.
Take a breath and pick a direction.
Lux followed Asani's wide-eyed stare and for the first time since entering the room, took a deep breath, letting the scent of the room and everything both familiar and unfamiliar fill their lungs.
My. You know this scent, don't you? It has the aroma of a day long since past, yet one so tangible you could step through it at a moment's notice, given physical form. The look of a cozy summer's afternoon with a friendly older relative when you were a child. The dulcet tones of a classic show ringing in your ears. It's all still there, Lux. You can sense it.
Then, for the first time, someone new joined the conversation in Lux's crowded head.
You are receiving a video call from Dr. H. Campus. It is marked as a priority.
Lights flashed, Lux's skull hummed, and the senses began to connect in their mind to tangible memories. The more Lux focused, the more they knew where they were. July 1970. The summer was particularly brutal that year. Barbecues were a feature in every garden, as was the music and accompanying revelry. There was a freedom to that time that has been lost in the digital age of post-meta cynicism, fetishistic levels of social media usage, and hyper-awareness. But not here. Here, in the foyer of your old home, the journey was well and truly underway. This is the impetus, the first stage. You can't voice it yet, but you know other ways by now. Use them. Remember your abilities. Lux closed their eyes and let the voice carry through their mind, honing its words to a fine point in the center of their forehead before opening once more and utilizing the strange gifts that had been bestowed upon them some time ago. Manifestation. As clear as they saw Asani, they now saw the figures from the same stories Lux had been told as a child, the same ones Lux had researched on their own time, the same ones that stuck in their mind during the most difficult of moments. First came the man on the left, his tall gait not the least bit imposing as his kind, emerald eyes and slicked back black hair threatened to become askew from the laughter his body language indicated in the freeze frame as he was formed. His perfect attire cleaned and pressed to perfection. Even amid the laughter, there was something clear in his gaze, something wanting. Lux looked across the sprawling room, and the second man formed a few feet away. Shorter, bulkier, far more garish in his choice of clothing, gait, and stature. This man was an anomaly even for his own time. An explorer's attire clad with trinkets and memories of his travels, the familial hazel hair tied back and his beard wild as he told a passionate story to his compatriot. To their immediate right, a third man took shape. Muscled and imposing, he seemed a gentle giant as he too was in the throes of this conversation, slapping the storytelling man in the middle of his back. Clad in leather and weapons of all kinds strewn over his body, it was disarming to see someone clearly so accustomed to violence being this friendly.
Lux, are you doing this?
Asani breathed, taking a step back and feeling a hollow thump before turning to see oaken furniture where an absent space once occupied. Sure enough, the more Asani looked, the clearer it became. This echoing yellow chamber was becoming tangible. Before her eyes, it was now a fully lived-in space. Lux nodded and continued to focus, turning the still life moment into a living memory as they stood back towards the now visible threshold where the grand double doors stood and became passive observers to what was now taking place, somehow knowing they were there to watch and not interrupt. Before their attention was fully on the men in front of them, Lux nudged Asani and pointed with trepidation to the large set of stairs leading to the upper floors. Asani nearly gasped when she saw what Lux was indicating. It came in waves, as if seeing a photograph develop in real time and knowing you're bearing witness to something you should not be privy to. First, it was the size of the building. It was beyond comprehension, far larger than any structure should be. It felt imposing, as if it would be ever so easy to become lost within. Beauty in its colossal design. They were not a part of its grandeur, an anomaly to the brutalism, but something lingered within the walls, something familiar. The second was when Asani fixated on a singular point at the top of the stairs where there sat a large grandfather clock, marking each moment of time within the grand structure. It was breathing. Asani thought it a trick of the eyes before allowing her eyes to sway with the motions, and then she caught it. For just a moment at first glance, and then continuously. The little hairs, the beady eyes swaying, the rhythmic pumping of the clock. This was a living structure. The final, however, was the most puzzling and the one that sent Asani into a panic mode. Not enough to scream, but enough to freeze and focus. A message had been scrawled into the top of the first floor wall, above the grandfather clock. It confirmed any suspicions Asani had about where they were. Stage 1, Foyer, Impetus.
What do you think it is?
Asani breathed, holding the rest of her thoughts, concerns, and hopes, not wishing to spoil the splendor in front of her. Lux was unable to respond, but their brains certainly began firing up. You have been here before, Lux. The words can't come to you yet, nor can any words for that matter, but you know what this is. The yin to your captor's yang, thesis to antithesis. You're creating this, evoking this, maybe even resurrecting this memory from the depths of decay and discarded atoms. This is your birthright. Every cell within you has ached for this moment.
When someone gets a powerful scent, tastes something special, or hears a song for the first time in a long time, it can create a marker on the brain, old chap. A way for the neurons within the mind to navigate back to that pristine moment when it was new, when it was fresh, when it was special.
But this is a good kind of special, or a bad kind of special. A childhood memory kept close to the heart, or a nightmare. What are we evoking right now? Are we the great calamity above?
It is not for us to say if we float or if we sink. The decision is made for us before we begin to bounce and bubble and drown. Life is a constant state of entropy from one extreme to the other, like the life cycle of a cicada or a butterfly. Birth, eat, growth, death. Your body feels like it is being caressed by a murder of hamsters. Fuzzy, but deadly.
Did they just say hamsters?
They did. Best not to dwell on it. Lux's eyes were wide both at their own machinations and the three spectres turned men in their person. The two of them stared ahead, fourth and fifth wheels to this pantomime emerging. You are a riot, Marceau. You think we could chart a course so perilous? We're not young bucks anymore. Some of us are staring down the fourth decade. The man in the middle smirked, winking at the tall man in the corner. Archie here is 38 going on geriatric.
40 ain't the age it used to be, you know.
Archie sighed, leaning back as his muscles flexed against his flannel shirt, scratching his beard.
I look like I'm turning 30, and I act like I'm turning 20. A damn sight better than you, Oliver.
Huh? What's that? You're feeling flirty with Gertie? Oliver held up a mimicked shaking hand to his ear, a comically elderly tone in his voice as he responded, much to the other's delight.
Sir, you really must not push him too much. He's strong enough to choke you into unconsciousness.
Saunders pleaded, a gentle hand on his friend's shoulder as Archie chuckled and gave him a thumbs up.
And beyond with ease, Garrett. Mind your manners.
He cackled as he sat forward. Come on now, Rodney, none of that sir or master nonsense. My dad may have employed you, but you're still my friend. We're too close in age to be employer and employee. It's just weird. You know of Archie's connection to me, and we have no issues. You promised you'd stop for me, especially if we're to embark on this daring plan of yours for the summer solstice. Oliver's eyes were alight with excitement, and both Asani and Lux caught Saunders staring just a bit too long before he sheepishly turned away, rummaged in his bag, and pulled out a map, spreading it across the adjacent wall and pinning it up for the others to look at.
Very well, Oliver. Archie, I believe this expedition is doable. We have the time, we have the funds, and we have the strength. Oliver, you've talked at length about getting your name in the history books for something special, and I spent an entire year looking through Sturgeon's archives for something special. A little birdie in one of those shady orders gave me this, Archie. I think you'll be very well enticed by the legend. Gentlemen, I give you the lost kingdom of Harper's Wake.
Lux looked closer at the map. Something about it felt familiar.
Your skin tingles as you recall this very same poster hanging in the parlor room of your childhood home. A copy of it used to hang in the theater where you would assist your grandfather, but it's been gone for a long time. This is the map of your grandfather's grandest expedition, his search for the last giant under the fabled mountain. Your favorite bedtime story growing up was The Marvelous Journey, though you struggled to recall the end. Did he ever tell you? Maybe you just don't like endings. Asani and Lux watched in silence as the men gathered around and plotted their route. Starting in Sturgeon, they would make their way from Mantis Bay towards the port town of Kerala across the lake, then traipse through Minosha's vast forests and hills, onto Angleron's desolate plains, before entering the cave systems that would take them through to the fabled settlement in the middle of the mountainous region. Octan, the realm of the giants and the people who follow them, the Octan Ra, giant siblings. If anyone could help them find Harper's Wake, it was the Octan Ra. Legends claimed they'd been there as long as the very mountains themselves, but being so reclusive to outside forces, it was impossible to tell. Still, it was the lead they had all settled on, and one they were determined to follow through with. Oliver's eyes gleamed, his breath quickened, and his shoulders arched as he surveyed the end of their storied destination.
It'll take up to a year, but that's nothing compared to the journey it took to get to this moment, eh?
He beamed at his comrades and put his arms around them, a sense of resolve washing over Asani and Lux.
We can do this. We can be the ones to unlock humanity's secrets. It all starts here, at the Gehart Estate.
I promise, Oliver, we will make history and bring your own glory to the family name. I will retire in shame if I fail.
Rodney's voice quaked under the pressure of his own declaration, Oliver smiling and chuckling as Archie stretched and scratched his beard.
You're not the only one. If I want to live up to the Downey name, I'm gonna need some fresh ideas and a damn good story to tell. So, what are we waiting for? Let's celebrate and get to planning.
Lux feels the pride practically bursting from Oliver as the three men smile, recognizing the youth of their grandfather and how far that passion took them. Something deep within Lux stirs, and a voice rings in their head.
This is a message left for you by Unknown. You have regained your sense of personal history purely through standing and watching. Congratulations. Please move to the second stage.
The visage of the three men grows bright, their luminescence blinding Asani and Lux before trails of their forms speed off past the stairs and through an adjacent door leading into the basement. Asani staggers as she looks at her companion, now bathed in that same glow for a few moments.
Are you okay, Lux? You look like you leveled up. Or got radiation poisoning.
Asani's eyes flashed and she smirked, holding out a hand.
But fuck it. I'll risk it. Let's go.
Lux's breath catches in their lungs, their skin electric as they take Asani's hand and make a beeline for the door. All the voices in their head grow deafeningly silent as they traverse towards the second stage. As the door opens, few pieces of sensory information greet the pair. Absolute darkness stretching on into infinity around them. Small, ornate torches stacked at strategic positions on either side of a large marble staircase that led down for an inconceivable depth. Lux didn't dare let Asani's hand go, lest the voices come back, but they knew it would be an assault of the senses when that time came. The walk persisted for what felt like hours. Time dilated to complete irrelevancy in the absence of any kind of stimulus. It was Asani who first noted the wrongness of their trajectory, letting Lux's hand go in order to gasp and point it out.
Holy shit, Lux. Look at the side of the staircase. We're not going down.
But as Lux looked, so too did the senses within them. You've known of liminality. You've studied it and found both comfort and fear within its strange walls and ornate color palettes. It is the realm of the lost, the forgotten, the unwanted. A place where physics goes to take a siesta and lets its hair down metaphorically and literally. You've not been traveling upwards for quite some time. In fact,
You can't even say if you've been traveling in any direction at all. This is just like the null space. A holding pattern. A place of purgatory.
If we're in a holding pattern like a plane, what if we run out of fuel? Will we plummet, crash, and kill everyone on board? Will they name us a tragedy or a martyr? Or will we be forgotten in this nothingness? We don't like nothingness. Apes need something to focus on.
Nonsense, old bean. Existence is for existence's own sake. We are here for a reason. This traveling is not for nothing. We may not have the full picture, nor are we playing with a full deck quite yet, but we have more than enough at our disposal to steer this ship through the darkness, eh? We simply need to take a breath and remember where we are and find the path home.
Up, down, left, right. These are arbitrary concepts when in a space that moves in unlimited angles and dimensions. The mind boggles and the vision blurs at the prospect of unrestricted dimensional movement. Your teeth feel fluffy, and you want to pull them out to make the world stand still.
Lux takes a breath and, after a moment, looks over the side of the staircase. What greets them is a Mobius strip that descends and twists into the abyss below. Or maybe it's above. Attached to it in places is a great pillar, of what material Lux couldn't say, but by fixing their gaze on the darkness around them, they began to hear the sound of a bell. Faint at first, but growing with each mental recognition. Almost like echolocation, but personal. Asani, sensing Lux's focus, walks to their side and waits, staring into nothingness for a sign of what to do. Turns out, it would come to them. As if breaking through the fog, the staircase traverses the Black Sea and comes to the base of a grand mountain. Of the Grand Mountain Oliver spoke of in his journals. Octan. Black and blue, this behemoth stretched into the very same sky they felt they'd already conquered with their traversal, but now they stood on its banks, the stairs finally coming to an end, a singular bell impaled into the ground. Without waiting or discussing, Lux grabbed the large rope and pulled, ringing out a tone far louder than it had any business producing. As the very air around them vibrated, they waited for a response from the imposing mountain. Sure enough, it came. One thunderous roar rang down the mountainside, splitting open the skin in front of them and giving way to a well-lit and rustic workshop carved into the very mountain itself. Someone hunched over a grand table of complex mechanisms, beakers, Bunsen burners, and weaponry. It spanned the entirety of their vision and stretched off into the ether, down a corridor, and into the darkness that they couldn't follow. They think that the giants have long since abandoned this realm, moved to greener pastures, died off or evolved in newer forms. The voice hissed, a hurried intonation in their tone as they busied themselves at the desk, the clicks and whirs of something unseen coming to life. But I will show them that the inverse can also be true, that the giants never moved, but nested. Didn't die, but slept. No evolution, but maintenance. The figure turned, a large metallic mask covering their face as they held up a medallion on a thick chain, a beautiful purple hue emanating from a central chamber in the heart of the circular medallion, spinning at an expedient pace as a smaller, circular mechanism rushed to match it. The shades of purple almost coming off of it in waves as the figure held it out towards Lux and Asani, seeing something that they couldn't. We'll show them that cicadas aren't the only things that can re-emerge from a long slumber. Together, they watch as the tunnel darkens and an ear-splitting shriek rips through the stairway, an image of the mountain cracking open as ash and rock fill their vision. The day of your grandfather's expedition. The day it all went wrong. The day the door to Harper's Wake opened and it emerged. You remember the stories. How he swore up and down the giant emerged from the mountain to save them all?
If that giant was still there, still sleeping, how did it get back into the mountain? You can't restructure a mountain to what it once was! It's not a puzzle or a Lego set!
Definitely not. The rock is in such monstrous clumps and minuscule parts that it'd be physically impossible. Why is this even a question?
A better one then is if the giant didn't escape, is it still sleeping? Waiting for someone? And if it did, where is it now? What if it sees us and seeks revenge for something our grandfather did?
The giants do not observe us as we observe them, for they have to concern themselves with the giants of their own world. Our impact on them is akin to that of a parasite on the eyebrow or a hangnail on the finger at best. Your shoes bite down too hard on your ankles. The laces can be an effective disciplinary method. Trust me.
The smell of ash and the noise from the mountain is rather overstimulating, old bean. Struggling to make heads or tails of it. Agreed. Though we need to do this with a degree of coolness. Someone is next to us after all. Don't want to projectile vomit out of panic like our birthday, do we?
Let's not talk about our 14th birthday. Lou's enjoyment of absinthe on that night still brings us dread.
The urge to vomit is rising with every second we spend on this. Please, no more.
Legs aren't working. Stomach, however.
Lux drops to their knees, hands clutching at their stomach as they dry heave while the split in the wall plays out in front of them. Asani only notices when she turns to talk to Lux, marveling at the horror and wonder of it all.
Oh shit, are you okay? Panic attack? Overstimmed? What do we do? Can you move? Oh fuck.
Asani breathes, panicking with every question as Lux curls into a ball, sobbing. Then, a voice breaks through the mania playing out in front of them. One Lux recognizes. Hey, my little light. Open your eyes. It'll be okay. Grandpa? In an instant, Lux feels more at ease, looking through tear-stained eyes to see their younger-looking grandfather offering a hand, though he is battered and beaten beyond belief. Thought that might help. You seem to have conjured your own tulpa solution. Just don't get into the habit of it too much, eh? Might be a problem if you can't dispel it or we, God forbid, gain sentience and alternative motivations to you. He flashes a cheeky grin and wink as his rough hands wipe away Lux's tears. You've got a hell of a journey ahead of you, kid. But you're the light in every room. So long as you trust in yourself, the path will be illuminated. He places a single bloodied finger on Lux's forehead, which glows as his entire visage does so in kind. You just needed a little bit of focus. Lux connects with this tulpa of Oliver and feels the sense of renewed focus come into view. The vision blurs and brightens until both are blinded by it. Once again, something stirs in Lux's head and begins to speak.
This is a message left for you by Unknown. Through mental toil and reconnection of the old and new, you have regained your sense of sharpness and focus. Congratulations. Please move to the third stage.
The brightness fades, and in place of the tunnel were two brightly colored water park slides, one red and one teal, named for Asani and Lux respectively. Soft water flows through both tunnels, the sounds of revelry and an indoor swimming park echo from below. Above both tunnels, the lights for Go are not yet lit.
What the fuck? They gave us both a tunnel each? What if they don't lead to the same place? Think we could, I don't know, both take the same one?
Asani places her hand underneath the water, feeling it against her skin for a moment before stepping over to Lux's, immediately repelled by an unseen force.
Okay, no, definitely not. It's like a player 1 and player 2 situation. Only the designated person can take that route. Fuck.
After a moment, a loud buzz filled their ears before the lights switched to go, and once exchanging glances, the two took their positions and readied to go down.
This is the worst decision we have ever made. A dark tunnel going to nowhere, and we're sitting in water fully clothed? Fuck that.
It could be worse, old bean. It could be a dark, dingy tunnel filled with sewage, or no liquid at all. Ooh, imagine the friction. At least the atmosphere is nostalgic. You recall a time when your whole family went to an indoor swimming park one summer. Your father rented out the entire thing for your brother's birthday. There were never any lines, and you won the competition for holding your breath underwater the longest. A pleasant memory, to say the least. As the two took a deep breath and slid down, the darkness enveloping them save for the small lights they passed at great speed, they saw a new word form above them, interspersed with the dark, following them incessantly as they descended. Pool rooms. Gestation. For Asani, the bright red hue of the slide was a strange calm, the brightness fluctuating with the speed of the turns. Though there was running water, it didn't seem to register with Asani's senses, which she made a note of. Left and right, the tunnel whipped frenetically about, jostling Asani until her head smacked an errant barrier overhead. Dazed but not unconscious, voices began to rush up the slide and catch her attention.
You always do this, always! Shut down on me when I try to express something. Why?
Because you are incapable of having an adult conversation without resorting to shaming me. You are nothing short of a bully when you want to be.
Oh, that's rich coming from you. The one who has a total inability to let go of any mistakes, any infractions, or any slight toe out of line. Admit it. You enjoy watching me bend over backwards to appease you when I don't want conflict.
Fuck you, Magnus. You will never be able to fix the things you've broken, no matter how much you try to moralize it.
It's always this way. I'm sick of being stuck to you like a cancer I can't treat. And for what? Status? Money? Comfort? Because it sure as hell isn't love.
A slam, then silence, then soft weeping. The slide slows for a moment before a sharp descent. Asani plunges into darkness. The red hue has dissipated. On the other side, Lux has been traversing for some time with no incident. In fact, the slide has barely moved its trajectory. A simple slow descent at a comfortable pace. Lux assumed they'd gotten on the easy slide as a pair of familiar voices floated from the unseen corners.
What are we going to do? We can't go through this again.
I don't know.
We're going to be ruined if we can't fix this. One scandal is bad enough. But a second?
I don't fucking know, Steph.
Well, you'd better start figuring out a solution, my dear. These children will bring shame on us if we let it continue unabated. Something has to be done.
The voices stop and Lux is dropped into the abyss, falling for some time before coming out into a large, empty water park. As Lux fell, they spied the complex series of colored slides wrapping around one another as they sprawled across the ceilings of the building. But panic immediately gripped Lux as their eyes darted down, begging for water. Mercifully, they found it and collided with an emphatic smash as the sting sent shockwaves through their body, the numbness seeping in as their muscles screamed. For a moment, it felt as if the impact would be enough to keep them underwater, but they spied Asani struggling further below, and the motivation was enough to push them on. With a jolt of energy, Lux pushed through the pain and, with difficulty, grabbed Asani's wrist and began swimming up, their barely conscious companion gripping back with little strength. Lungs burning and muscles aching, Lux broke the surface at the final moment, gulping in air as they hauled Asani onto their shoulders, swimming for the nearest ladder. Both breathing heavily, they lay on the tiles and breathed in the chlorine-scented hot air.
Holy shit. I thought that was it for me. Something whacked me in the tunnel and I... Oh, man, you're the best.
Asani held out a fist. Lux bumped it while coughing up water.
Why didn't you, use your powers? Could have manifested a lifeboat or a pool floaty or something.
Asani chuckled, mimicking the bobbing notion. Lux blinked. The thought hadn't occurred to them, and shame filled their face before Asani pulled them in for a hug. It was nice, comforting, warm. The kind of sincere hug we simply don't get enough in this life. Lux embraced her back, and all fell silent in the world for just a little while. After drying off, the two began exploring again, the pathways around the vast pool works making traversal a seemingly simple task. Though once cutting into the shower rooms, it rapidly became a complex maze with very few signifiers to tell them when they were in a loop. An errant flip-flop, broken door, or stain on the wall had to do in place of a proper marker. After passing the showers with the overflowing sinkhole for the third time, Lux pointed to a set of spiral steps that hadn't been there before. Without waiting, they ascended and began to hear voices coming from the top, muffled but furtive. It was impossible to pass the conversation, but it was obvious it was heated. Every step filled Lux with the trepidation they knew all too well from their youth. This was something they were not supposed to see or hear.
You should really turn back. What if it's state secrets and they have to kill you for learning about it? What if the secrets of the world are beyond these stairs and learning the truth explodes your mind? What if it's someone you really respect and they're talking to someone else you don't like, happily discussing their shared disdain of you? It's too risky. You should leave.
It's none of those things. Your gut instinct is solid. You know what this is, and you know where you were the last time you had this feeling. You won't like what you find if you are right, but it's vitally important you continue.
The chlorine is making us nauseous. Too strong, old chap. Why is it always too strong?
Oh, God. Is it in our nasal passages? Tell me it isn't. That is impossible to clear once it's embedded.
The stench of chemicals should not bring nostalgia any more than a piece of plastic brings comfort or a doll brings familial sensibilities. You are lost in a labyrinth of your own making, and the spiral is endless. It is a magnanimous representation of your own life, always spinning, the feeling of ascension merely an illumination. Your nose burns with the fire of 1,000 suns.
The two of them reach the top of the stairs and come face to face with a bright blue slide. There is nothing else in the room other than a single sign hanging above on a ramshackle piece of balsa wood. You could still go back, you know. It was always an option. Stage 3. Rooftop Deceit. This, of course, felt immensely confusing as the tunnel slinked and pivoted left to right with alarming frequency. The smell of chlorine and the gust of warm air pulling both far from the concept of a rooftop. Sure enough, however, they would emerge at separate sides of a grandiose pool, embedded into the fine marble rock that completed a rooftop apartment. The expanse stretching out for untold miles in either direction, dotted in places by brutalist structures that stretch into the night sky. Great unforgiving spires of metal and wires punctuated in random sections by bright lights, shadows dancing within the windows, their defining features impossible to make out. Lux's thoughts went silent. Something within the air paralyzed them. At first, Asani didn't know whether it was the atmosphere of the rooftop or the buildings, but as she followed the direction of Lux's eyes, she spotted a small divot in the distance, from which their vantage point gave them a bird's-eye view into what lay within. A pair of high-back chairs, both black with separate tinges of azure and scarlet, sat facing one another, a rapidly dissipating fire between them, alongside a long coffee table full of documents, half-finished bottles of alcohol, and photos that neither Asani nor Lux could make out. Though the latter didn't need to, they knew full well what they were and what was going on. Two individuals with their features mostly hidden as the light blots out any identifiers point animatedly at one another from across the table. the more slender form in the red chair, the broader one in the right. They gesticulate wildly as the wind carries their words to the two observers.
I don't understand. The inner sanctum was supposed to fix these issues, not make them worse. What the hell did they do to our kids?
The male voice slams the papers down on the table between them, a series of reports on the elder Gahat siblings. You know what those papers say. You remember finding them in the parlor room not long after this argument. You were watching from the crack in the door, and they were too animated, too drunk to realize. How long ago was this? 10 years? 15? Regardless, it was before you and your sister were sent there in the reformed format it undertook. But those words on your siblings are still burned into your mind. Finley, 18-year-old male, physically malnourished and poor hygiene, polite to staff, suffering from Cotard syndrome, refuses to wear clean clothing, will not acclimate to modern amenities, insists on speaking an older dialect and using more complex terminology, is inconsolable if books are not left with him to research, does not sleep without sedatives, insists the lights be kept on at all times, speaks into the back left corner on frequent occasion. Therapy has been unsuccessful. Immersion techniques have proven fruitless. Prognosis is prolonged stay within our care or to be released to home care with frequent visits. Hope that with time and patience, he can acclimate or be accommodated. Bennett, 22-year-old male. Physically fit, well-kept, and generally in good health. Mentally regressive, isolated, and prone to violent outbursts. Largely does not engage with therapy techniques, both extracurricular or invasive. Pain stimulus is non-responsive, and only psychological responses have been recorded. When not asking for Morgan, simply draws with or without materials provided. Long-term prognosis is bleak, likely to require regular care and attention if ultimatum is met. We'll discuss with you both in person for actionable plan.
Fuck's sake. We wanted them to be presentable to society, not terrify the twins or make our peers recoil in horror. Why can't they be normal like the Mulgraves or the Henriksons?
He sank into his seat, downing a glass of port before pouring more for himself. The woman next to him leaning forward to look at the papers.
It's their first year of operations. Maybe they're still working out the particulars of their methods. Or perhaps...
She trailed off, the fire roaring in the absence of their conversation.
Perhaps what? What are you thinking? That this is somehow my fault? My faulty genetics?
He stood up, large back still firmly to the pair.
I'm just saying. They know full well how to fool these professionals. What with that ability you all have. Both of them have the whole facility fooled. We know damn well both boys can get whatever they want, whenever they want it. Outside of a way out, of course.
She drank her wine and placed the glass down delicately before standing up, looking at her husband.
I don't know what you want me to do about it. That's all.
I want you to help me figure out a plan, Desiree. These are our kids, and whether we like it or not, they have roles to play in our home and our future, not as two queer boys with even queerer peculiarities that will make them easy prey for our colleagues, but as powerful men.
He was impassioned as he spoke, the very room codifying his words and spurning his conviction. But just as he reached his peak, his wife spoke in such a way that deflated him immediately.
One of them is ours. The other, he's yours to deal with, Magnus.
She turns to walk away, towards the door where a much younger Lux stood on the other side, Magnus standing in place with fists clenched.
You're still the only mother he knows, you know. Wouldn't kill you to acknowledge that.
He barked, looking at the reports with a grimace.
Maybe then he wouldn't have turned out this way.
Maybe then he wouldn't have turned out this way. On both accounts, my love, you were the catalyst in ensuring he knew nothing else. Ask Noelle, or Morgan, who has blame for their cherished one's downfall. Because it does not lie with me. Good night.
Desiree walks off to the left, the sound of a large door opening and shutting as Magnus, with his back turned to Asani and Lux, sobs quietly as he clutches the report papers, casting them into the fire. The embers flicker and glow before floating past him and up towards Lux, before bursting in a flash.
This is a message left for you by Unknown. Facing down the ugliness of your past, you have regained your focus. Please move to the 4th stage, but do so with haste, for something is following you.
Holy shit. You okay? It's never good to see your folks fighting, even if it's not about you.
Asani looked to Lux, sympathy racking her youthful face. Lux's lip quivered, but they nodded and pointed to the spot they were just staring at. As if a spotlight was shut off, the small enclosure within which Magnus and Desiree performed was erased, leaving an absence of anything but unforgiving concrete structures stretching across the vast rooftop. In the distance, they could spy a small doorway at the foot of a large concrete pillar. With no other way forward, they began the walk.
My folks were no different, you know.
Asani began, hands in pockets as she looked up to the sky, observing the numerous stars twinkling fervently.
Even if you don't come from tradition, it's a hard habit to break. First it was questioning things. That's a big no-no as a kid, especially as a girl. Asking why your big brother got more attention, or wasn't as heavily punished for the same things you did. That sort of thing. You know how it is with older siblings, right?
Lux nodded, the chill of the night air beginning to give them goosebumps. Asani continued.
Well, as I got older, it was being stubborn. Not giving in to male demands or expectations. Being told who I've got to marry when I'm older. Giving respect to older male peers that were in no way respectful themselves. Just constant desires to lessen myself to make someone else happy. After that followed fashion. Personal hobbies, piercings. You name it, I did it. I was a walking advertisement for a metal festival, and I loved it. Heavy metal and the alt culture allowed me to feel me for the first time in my life. Mama tried her best to be understanding, seeing a young girl trying to fit in and be rebellious as a normal teen. But Papa, well...
Asani paused again, misty-eyed as she rubbed her wrists.
Some scars go deeper than the skin, but they'll sting you all the same.
Lux thought back to their own childhood, being the youngest and largely coddled by the family, perceived issues largely ignored or not discussed, parents who wouldn't lay a finger on them but simultaneously would almost never hold them, hug them, express how much they loved them. It was a different kind of neglect, one that Lux wasn't entirely sure of how severe.
The raised voices, the constant threat of worse consequences if things didn't change, the expectations of performance, these standards one is held to being impossible to reach. No, not physical. Never physical. But it's like she said, some scars go deeper than skin. How long did they lock you up for? How long before they acknowledged the hurt? How long did they conspire to change you?
Lux shivered at the prospect as they came closer to the concrete wall, the archway pitch black within but the sole way forward. Undeterred, the two held hands as they walked into the darkness once more. It didn't take long before Lux felt the sensation pulling at their psyche, the urge to utilize this newfound gift. Like honing in on a specific song you've mastered or a new skill you've spent years fine-tuning that you have to showcase, their mind was begging them to go further. As if the very tapestry of darkness folded at their whim, Lux reached out and pulled at the frayed edges, allowing a soft blue light to eke out from underneath. More and more they pulled until the obsidian veneer of night came away and the exit to this tunnel showed itself some distance away. The dulcet tones of a soft piano playing in the distance, each key reverberating within a narrow passageway and bouncing off of their ribcages in playful exuberance.
Every time you do it, I'm just in awe, Lux. I'd ask you how, but the voice thing.
She chuckled, her eyes sparkling as she looked at Lux for a moment before giggling and running ahead, still holding on to them. Heart rate increasing both from the momentary connection and the running, the two come out into the most surprising expanse yet. A bustling strip mall. Clearly disused and long since abandoned, the now much clearer piano music interspersed with atypical mall tones as the two almost fall over the railing they've emerged in front of, a sheer drop down from several circular floors, ending a beauteous fountain display that appears to be emitting a shimmering black liquid. Stage 4. The Mall and the Observatory in Skytia. How long had this mall been here? Where was everyone that should have been keeping it active and thriving? It was a husk, the organs within harvested for all their worth and the bottom feeders taken their fill. Now the echoes of what it was all that remains amidst the rebar, concrete, glass and filaments that made up its once wondrous inner structure. This was a place people once congregated to make memories of a lifetime. Now it's a hollowed out corpse, a relic of a bygone age, waiting to be buried beneath the earth. Lux doesn't know why, but a pang of familiarity wells up within them the longer they stare. Something within the fountain is drawing them in, like a moth to a flame. That's their next destination. They felt sure of it.
Whoa, let's not fall from here. It's a hell of a way down, and I'm not sure the fountain's deep enough to break our fall. That where we gotta go?
Asani nudged Lux, nodding to the fountain they were still staring at.
An ancient fountain emitting black liquid. It'll either be housing the Black Death or maybe a vengeful god. But either way, I'm in.
Pulling themselves back, the two look around with wonder, just long enough to hear a smattering coming from down the hall.
What the fuck is that?
Asani breathed, taking a step back and bumping the rail once again as Lux's brain begins lighting up.
Now, I could be wrong, old bean, but that rather sounds like rainfall on a tin roof. Or perhaps the sound of applause. No, it sounds rather like...
Someone running, barefoot, getting closer to your position. The voice said you are being followed, so don't be waiting for them. Move, now!
Lux indicates to Asani they need to move, their gaze fixated at the long hallway opposite them. Countless stores boarded up, gutted, closed off or smashed in, all with their lights either off or flickering, the sole light sources coming from the barely functioning fluorescent bulbs still crackling above, but slowly going out. Something was definitely coming as a shadow rounded the corner, but that wasn't what caught Lux's eye or disturbed them the most. It was the store names. They were gibberish, unfocused, as if their brains simply could not transcribe it, or didn't want to. Didn't you have a recurring nightmare like this, Lux? Of waking up in an abandoned building, music playing and the hand spiders chasing after you? Isn't this oddly familiar? In fact, isn't this whole process rather strange? Like a recap of your best and worst hits? Where are we?
The speed in which we perceive the world is but a fraction in the life cycle of a star. We blink, we are walking. We blink, we are running. We blink, we are resting forevermore. It is a blur, a beautiful, complex, painful blur. Your eyes are sour grapes soaking in their sockets, threatening to burst. Don't push your luck, or we'll be on our backs long before we should be.
Without a moment's hesitation, Lux grabbed Asani and began running across the circular length of the mall and towards a set of desiccated escalators heading down, the slush wave ambient tones of the mall's soft music beginning to distort, though Lux couldn't tell if that was from the adrenaline or something else. As they descended, Lux got the briefest look at the creature before booking it for the nearest store to hide in. Hands. So many hands. Eyes where the nails should be, blackened and wide, all focused on them. Spying a curio shop that wasn't fully boarded up, the two crawled underneath the shutter, careful not to touch any glass as they hid behind the counter, waiting. The pattering continued. Like a thunderstorm rolling in, it began to grow in volume and frequency. More and more hands smashing against windows and floors in a desperate attempt to find them. However, after a few minutes, it died away as the creature moved on. The two sat there for a minute, breathing heavily and taking in the silence of the moor, neither wanting to break the tension for fear of an errant hand springing up and attacking them both. Fortunately, they wouldn't have to, for the staff room door opened up with an agonizing creak as a thin, tall creature in orange and blue vestments glided into the room, and with a thin appendage sprouting from its chest, beckoned the two to follow.
Do we follow?
Asani breathed, desperate not to let her voice grow louder than a whisper.
Strangely enough, I don't suspect any danger. This feels familiar somehow, as if it's meant to assist us, like a tour guide or a seeing eye dog.
It doesn't look like either one of those, nor smell like one though. But even so, it feels welcoming. Yet we've never seen it before. Most definitely not. But we should follow. A quick look exchanged between the two before they nod and follow through the doorway, darkness enveloping every sense they possessed before emerging out the other side, stood in front of a large ivory tower puncturing the canopy of stars above, nothing around in any direction, no matter what way they looked. An unending sea of black sand glistening in the pale moonlight and twinkling of innumerable stars. The tower itself was nothing short of remarkable, a structure built of marble, limestone, brick, and other materials as if steadily constructed over the centuries, each culture laying their own foundations into the building as time passed by, the sole identifier of their existence within the brick and mortar that keeps this monolith standing. A sign stood half buried in the sand, its advertisement still legible, though the show times long since claimed back by the sands beneath. A grand showing of the cosmos, as divined by Starseeker and Wunderkind Loubelle G. See the stars through her eyes and learn the truth. One visit per soul. The creature stands in the archway, waiting for the two to catch up. As if their feet walked without their input, they followed, heads still abound at the sky above as they crossed the threshold and began ascending the stairs. Soft, lilting piano tones echoed throughout the spiral structure, the path large enough to allow other patrons to pass by without issue, a faraway look in their eyes as if changed by what they'd witnessed. As they ascended, various openings in the spine of the spire showcased banquet halls, cabaret clubs, art galleries, and theaters alike. Dozens of pundits standing, seated, eating, and cavorting wildly in each nook that they crossed. The atmosphere of each one inviting and alluring. The color palettes of each room somehow matching the invisible vibes they possessed. Amaranth for the banquet halls, glaucous for the theater, Fallon red for the cabaret club, and powerful viridian for the art gallery. Soft hues, not overbearing but enough to constantly draw in Asani and Lux's gaze before their continuous walk ejected them from its magnetic pull. Neither Lux's thoughts or Asani spoke aloud as they ascended. All was quiet and serene. The piano grew louder, accompanied now by a soft choral singing of a dozen or more vocalists in bright, powerful pitches. The more Lux strained their ears, the easier the instruments came into the forefront of their mind. A glockenspiel frantically playing a repeating scale, a harp stringing delicate notes, a cello providing the powerful low notes, and a harpsichord tying it all together to create one thought that stuck with them as the ascension reached its end and the three emerged at the top of the spire, the circular path winding into a smaller and smaller staircase, emerging out into a vast and luminous observatory. This all felt oddly familiar. As if on cue, the music swells to greet them as the pair take in the sights of the room. Curios and knickknacks litter every shelf. Books in strange sizes and languages cover every table, alongside various specimens in jars.
papers of research strewn about the surfaces, and photos of blurred people span across every wall. Some in ornate portraits and others hastily stuck on like bedroom posters. For whatever reason, the people themselves are indiscernible as the two are led to a pair of beanbag chairs in the center of the room by the figure, who, with their escort job completed, glides up to the back of the room where a bedroom canopy sits. After crossing through it, a young woman emerges out the other side. Slender, jet black hair tied into messy space buns, jewelry adorning every finger, and long, flowing robes attached to her frame as she floats to the center, excitement in her eyes.
Welcome, O newfound gazers, to the astral event of a lifetime.
She bows and upon lifting her head smiles, darting around the room and gathering various documents as she continues speaking, gesticulating wildly.
You've come here in search of answers, as countless humans have done for eons. Before the pantheon of gods, goddesses, and strange entities we bowed to before, offering up our food, autonomy, and even flesh to, we bowed before one thing that sat atop them all. The sun. That great orb of power, chemistry, and physics that we don't even think of as a star upon first glance. Isn't that odd? The average person likely thinks of the sun as its own entity, a tangible thing of nurturing heat and terrible destructive power, a bringer of life and renewal.
Lou pauses, walking over to a crank handle and beginning to pull it as the ceiling above begins to retract, allowing in the darkness.
This is where I began. In the darkness, where no light could reach. That was where the oldest of enemies led, you see. Those that sought hominid meat by night, as they could not capture it by day. The rival tribes that wanted resources, and waited in the underbrush. And the things that stood on two legs, but were not people. I was born in this environment, to let you know it wasn't safe. This is home.
Many nights you'd awaken in your room, the house no longer feeling familiar or safe. You'd be the only one conscious and the walls felt bigger, the darkness thicker. Every sound caught your attention. You knew, even then, something was watching you, waiting on you.
Falling. Always falling. Without an anchoring point, we are destined to do nothing but tumble into the abyss. Our sense of self stretched out across the vast expanse of space as our toes exchange pleasantries with our tonsils. Your world is spinning, unraveling, unwinding. Tap your feet to the floor so you know you're still here.
These are stars, no different to our own sun. Yet their distance and size has us perceive them as otherworldly, strange, alien. Now you could argue that a good amount of people think of these as no different to our own sun, but there's a mysterious majesty to these stars, isn't there? Supergiants, pulsars, white dwarfs. We can only imagine them. To know them intimately is to know destruction. They are both life incarnate and death defined, only to be observed and admired at a distance, not to be touched or explored. Perhaps I am someone who seeks allegories in everything, but I find such beauty in the connective tissue of our universe. The stars look beautiful tonight, don't they? Perhaps.
Loubelle moves over to the large telescope at the far right of the room, pushing it on wheels until its lens is pointed at the sky, at one particular spot, glistening in the inky expanse. Lux's heart begins to flutter.
You should take a look for yourself.
Asani grips Lux's hand for a moment, a reassuring squeeze before they walk to the telescope, taking in a deep breath and closing both eyes as they position themselves, before opening their right eye and peering down the lens. As they focus, a house comes into view, but not just any house, one all too familiar to Lux. It was the summer estate out in the countryside, far from prying eyes and gossipy neighbors, somewhere the press would not be able to report on. This is where they kept her, sheltered her away and pretended she didn't exist. Lux searches for her, darting the lens from position to position until, finally, they see her, standing in the top right bedroom, window open and staring back at them with pained, wild eyes. She's saying something, the words forming on her lips until Lux feels something pulling them away.
You should not be looking, Lux. You must cease. This will be the end of you.
Something else stood in the room with Lucinda. Something tall, covered in flies and detritus.
Death. Nothing but death and destruction. You need to leave.
The sound of cicadas screeching, the very walls peeling away, their fleshy wallpaper sloshing off in thick, wet chunks and revealing something pink and shiny. The night they took you, a forced sleep, a mistake that left you in the void. You will end up back there again if you don't pull away, now. A fetid stench in the air, Lux's own skin beginning to feel itchy, as if it needs to be pulled away, scratched and ripped until the soft, new skin underneath is set free. Maybe just one small...
Lux, for fuck's sake, look at me!
Asani's voice broke through the cacophony and snapped Lux from the telescope, their free hand held tightly by Asani, blood caked under the fingernails and a small hole in their forearm where they'd been picking aggressively at the skin.
I thought I'd lost you there for a sec. Look around. Whatever you did seemed to have caused a shift. We ain't in Kansas anymore.
Sure enough, as Lux stepped back from the telescope, it crumbled into black sand. Only small structures of the spire still around them, rejoining the earth. They were once again alone, stood in the unforgiving obsidian desert, without a single bright star to guide them. It twinkles rhythmically as Lux continues to stare at it, trying to make sense of its communication. Instinctively, they reach out to try and pinch it in that way that kids do when they see a huge object on the horizon. The terrifying naivete of a child unaware of the creative prowess within them, mercifully restrained by the laws of physics, for they would snuff out entire galaxies on a whim without pause or malice. But as Lux's hands glow and they begin to slowly squeeze, the star acquiesces and matches, becoming almost flat in their hand and sending out a beautiful horizon of light across the expanse as Asani watches on, enraptured. What is it you see in your mind's eye when you focus? What haunts your dreams? The symbol that is burned into you. Manifest it. You know of what I speak.
The symbol of your pain, your power, your ultimate sanctuary ripped away from you.
Sharp, acute, instantly recognizable.
Lux concentrates and begins pulling at the star, pinching the sides and grinding into two fine ends, smoothing out the base before compressing the top into a third and final point, flipping it upside down and slamming it into the sky with force. A triangle. A black triangle, pulsating in the sky. Just like Lux had seen in their visions. The same one reported in the skies over Angleron long, long ago. The same one that...
No, not yet. Not while she is around. We can't trust her, not fully. This is too much to share with anyone.
Agreed, old bean. There's enough information going on for you right now without adding in more concern and stimulation. Best to keep that one locked away for the moment, eh? The sand feels nice on your feet. The air is cool, and you're not detecting any gag-worthy smells, so all's well that ends well, eh?
Besides,
Something about this worries you. Aren't you forgetting something important, Lux?
This is a message left for you by Unknown. You stared into the abyss and the abyss stared back. Cliché, but ever truthful for all creatures who have any desire to grow beyond their past selves, their pain, their weaknesses. You have regained your determination. Please proceed to the 5th stage. Time is running out.
No time to dally. Lux looked to Asani and pointed at the triangle, nodding affirmatively.
We gotta follow that, huh? Well, who am I to argue at this stage? It's practically a sightseeing tour. Let's go.
Hand in hand, the two continued their walk towards the towering structure, growing in stature with seemingly every step. It doesn't take long before the pair begin to feel something crunching underneath every few dozen steps, then every dozen, then every few. Asani stops at one point to take a look, the sense of foreboding building within her as she begins to allow the fear rippling through her body dictate her decisions, momentarily taking in the bleached complexion of what was just crunched beneath her steel toe-capped boots, small flecks of yellow and white caking the shimmering black leather. But Lux squeezes her hand tighter and nods, resolute that they must press on without distraction, eyes momentarily darting to the right, gesturing in a universally understood code. Something else is behind us. Do not look. The two walked in sync for a few more minutes, stopping whenever Lux put up a finger, the sounds of crunching always ceasing as they did so. Naturally, Asani thought, since they were no longer moving. But after a couple of full starts, she caught it. The unmistakable sound of something shuffling, skittering, and ceasing.
Man, this is just like a nightmare I had a while ago.
Asani breathed as the two began walking again, their pace quickening and sweat trickling down Asani's head.
It was late one night. I was in a room with an odd structure. Circular, larger at the bottom, like a deep pit. The walls were lined with small indents you could climb, or crawl up and out of the room from. I was in some kind of ceremonial gown. Now my body was heavy. But to begin with, I couldn't understand why.
Doesn't this sound familiar, Lux? Haven't you had nightmares like this before? Indeed, old bean. The sound of soft buzzing, the stench of sweet rot, the feeling of pressure.
It always started off as paralysis, but it never stayed that way. There was always pain soon after.
Their pace increased to a light jog as the crunching became rhythmic, prominent, noticeable. The triangular shape became ever more foreboding in stature as Asani continued.
I thought it was sleep paralysis. I guess it kinda was. But I looked down and see bodies. So many bodies. Faceless and featureless, but in the same outfit I was. All laying around me with chunks of their bodies missing. No movement, just dead weight. I'd scream and find no sound existed in this room, as if soundproof even to my own ears. I fight, because of course I do. I get out. God, the way the bodies moved, it collapsed under my hands. But I get up and start to make my way to the side of the wall. A faint rumbling noise coming from behind me.
But it wasn't from behind you.
But it wasn't from behind me. Not really.
It was inside of you.
It was inside of me, the feeling bursting from my back and forming wings. My hands turning to claws as
You crawled up on the wall before flying to the top and escaping.
I crawled up on the wall, my wings flapping and allowing me to fly out. But then...
The jog was now a full sprint as something large began pounding in the sand behind them, the feeling of its hot breath almost scorching their backs. Was it the thing from the mall? Something else? The pair spied a dip in the sand and bolted for it, leaping without a second thought into the pit underneath the triangular shape that now consumed the sky above. They tumbled down the side and into a blackened pit, the sand here cold, hard, and stained with multiple specks of white. They laid there,
breathing hard as they waited for the inevitable chase to culminate in some violent encounter. But it never came. No sound, save for the shuffling of the very sands around them and a soft pulsing of the shape above. The two were laying in opposite pockets of the embankment as their eyes met. Asani swallowed and prepared to continue her story, Lux's mind ablaze. Then you saw what waited for you at the top, by the entrance. You saw who waited for you. Asani opened her mouth, seeing Lux's focus, but closed it before hesitating, and finally saying,
Then I woke up, screaming. Not much more for it, I suppose. If you're good, we should keep moving. Who knows where that thing got to?
She knows, but she isn't telling. Why is that? Lux got up on shaky legs and pointed first to the underside of the triangle, then to the center of the pit they were in. Above them, in the familiar writing, their next location had been outlined. Stage 5, Elephant Grave, Epicenter. Some distance away, at the very center of the pit, stood a decrepit mausoleum. Ornate white marble had given way to a pallid grey hue, the centuries of neglect combined with the elements eroding its once remarkable beauty to an almost depressing degree. The structure stood over 100 foot high, pillars still propping up the grand building in spite of its age. The large doors opened just enough to allow someone entrance. The two began walking towards the mausoleum before Asani stopped, crouching down and sifting through the sands, face hidden from Lux's view.
Hey, I need to say this because if I don't, I think it'll haunt me.
She breathed, voice cracking.
The reason I brought up my nightmare, well, this place, it reminded me of it. You know what an elephant grave is, right?
Legend says that when an elephant reaches the end of its life, be it through disease, injury, or a combination of events, instincts compel it to travel without stopping to a particular spot where its kin have all fallen. It will do this above all other desires and self-preservation, walking until it cannot walk anymore. When it falls, its body decays, feeds the soil and the scavengers, its bones becoming the newest additions to the appropriately named elephant graveyard. They always die alone, far from the group.
What awaits us when we can no longer move, when we can no longer experience? A world different to before we entered it. For now we are cursed with sensation and fear it's taken away. The end comes for us all, and it comes for us without mercy. Your joints rattle like errant windows in a storm. You are not built to last this night.
This place, did you look at the bones?
Lux, for the first time, looked down at the pieces between their shoes. Summer 2006, one of the hottest years on record. The tarmac baked in the unforgiving sun, bubbling and turning into a thick black paste that burned your nostrils when you were out playing. Nearby, you found several curled over insects roasting in the midday heat. They were translucent, empty, but unmistakable. Cicada shells. Countless cicada shells littered the sand, malformed and bulbous in places, some with just a few legs and others with none at all, their size shifting from one discarded shell to the next. But as they walked, the pace growing furtive as they reached the mausoleum, Lux saw something else mixed in with the shells, swirling within the sand itself as if swimming in the ocean. There were bones in these pits, but not one of them resembled an elephant.
They're people. All of them. A mass grave. We should move quicker.
Asani hissed, picking up her pace as the noise of the sand shifting became more prominent.
That noise, the incessant hissing, the low rumble, the large shifting of the sands. It's all coming back to us now.
The fog is lifting, We're almost there. We just need to face it.
What lurks in sand pits, Lux? What creature lays in wait for its prey and drags them beneath the sands?
Say it.
Shout it.
Hurl it at the very skies.
You must say it, Lux.
An antlion.
Lux mumbled through damaged vocal cords, the consonants forcing their way out slowly but with purpose. Asani stopped in her tracks and shook, turning her head in sheer disbelief, eyes wide as something behind them picked up speed. Lux roared as they began running, grabbing Asani's hand and rushing for the doors, turning back only as Asani worked to force them open further. It was the definition of rot, decay, hunger, and malice, all huddled beneath the surface of a thin veneer of blackened sand. It didn't want to be seen. Not fully. Not yet. Instead, it barreled its way towards the structure, either unaware or uncaring of its defenses.
It doesn't need to be seen. We already know what it is. But why doesn't she? Surely, she would remember such a terrible thing.
The constant bright lights, the long hallway, unknowable time but always tired. The room in the far, far left. The one with a hidden chamber. They told your parents it'd just be for a little while. They wouldn't hurt you in any way. But they lied. That chamber holds so many secrets.
Hurry up! This thing is fucking heavy!
Asani called, the sliding door of the mausoleum resisting her as she tried to pry it open with her nimble frame. Lux nodded and ran through into the inky darkness, the door slamming behind them with a great thud as the antlion smashed into the entrance. For a moment, the pair were plunged into darkness. No senses save for the fine marble floor beneath their feet and the echoing of their footsteps as the building settled.
Just like before, after the Great Ripping.
All senses taken, sometimes in segments, sometimes all at once. Overwhelming stimulation followed by absolute silence, including awareness. We simply were there, then we're not.
Horrifying. Never again.
Without a guiding light, we are but shambling little things, blindly stumbling in the abyss and begging for something or someone to hold on to. Please, give us clarity. Give us direction. Give us a path. We are directionless. The only way in the darkness is down. Do not send us back to the absence.
Holy shit. I can't see or feel a goddamn thing. Lux, if your powers are working, for the love of all that is sacred, please find us a fucking path forward. I feel like I can't breathe.
Asani's voice trailed, giving both Lux comfort for the stimulation and fear for how distant it sounded despite the two only just entering the space. As Lux took a breath and began focusing on a single point, Asani kept talking, words sputtering out in frantic bursts as if unable to stop once she started.
My father put me in a place like this once. He'd been repurposing our basement as a sort of private prayer chamber. One night, when I was 16, he discovered I'd been kissing someone he didn't approve of. He got mad. Really, really mad. I'll never forget the fear as I walked through my front door, the smash to the side of my head, and the feeling of my shoulder dislocating as he dragged me to the basement door, before pushing me down the stairs, screaming all kinds of obscenities as he did so.
Asani shuddered before continuing, a small but familiar light appearing in Lux's peripheral.
I'll never forget how I looked up at my papa, the man who helped give me life, sheltered me, and nurtured me, with this wild look in his eyes, as he told me how the news had told him all about people like me and my friends. How even the government abided by getting rid of us if we couldn't be persuaded to change. He said he knew his rebellious baby girl would never relent willingly, just like her mother. So he put me in the correction chamber.
an apt name for those who are usually forced into submission through physical or mental coercion. You've seen it happen in history before. Some of the most evil institutions and people utilizing both cutting-edge and barbaric techniques to get the desired result. All the while it happens, its most staunch allies try to stop you noticing. The light grows larger, the picture less murky. Lux feels blood trickling out of their right eye, but they persist.
3 days he kept me down there, switching between deep sobs begging me to relent and absolute rage as he beat me. Eventually, Mama called the cops on him, and I was rapidly rushed upstairs, cleaned up, and presented as a mentally damaged case. So they shipped me off to the inner sanctum. And do you know what I learned in that time, Lux?
Tears stained Asani's face as she began to lose what little constitution she had left, the darkness enveloping her mind, body, and soul. Lux listened intently, but focused on the picture in front of them. It was almost there.
This world is so cruel. It rewards those who spread hate, disinformation, discrimination, and outright violence with money for engagement. It gives platforms to anyone with internet access, and elevates the average bigot into a full-time influencer. Everyone, regardless of moral standing, is out to get everyone else. Anything to score a quick clout or take someone else down, because it makes themselves feel better. Hell, we have people forming relationships with fucking robots! Fucking robots, Lux! Our world is so miserable that we'd rather engage and cultivate fake relationships with ones and zeros than face the ugliness of what we do day in and day out. Every time I turn my fucking phone on, it's genocide in this place, assault in this one, rights taken away here, outright blatant thievery and misinformation rewarded here. People like us, the non-religious, the minorities, the queer, the disabled, the outspoken, it's not enough that we're not accepted in society. It's not enough that we're struggling. We've emboldened the hate in people to such a degree that they won't be satisfied until we're in coffins. I'm sick of it! Why don't they get punished? Why didn't my dad get punished? What the fuck is the point of this?
Asani, beside herself with grief, drops to her knees and sobs as the light engulfs the pair and they're thrown into a large circular room. Every wall is filled with books, fossils, jars of unusual specimens, and diagrams of medical procedures. The wallpaper a faded yellow, patterns of various bees dot around the room. Pocketed in random spaces over mountains and hills of a continent Lux wasn't able to identify. The parlor room, a place you spent many long nights hiding away from the world, from your abilities. You pored over every book in this room, desperate to find an explanation for what happened to you.
You never did find it. That scared you. It scared us. Every cell in our body told us we were wrong, broken, shameful.
But then you remembered your grandfather, the help with the play, the website he linked you to, and so you did your digging. But you weren't the only one who was discovering things long since buried. Across the parlor, in a tall red leather armchair situated against the roaring fire, Phineas sat hunched over, voraciously consuming a copy of H.P. Lovecraft's story, The Tomb, finger to his lips and mumbling as he scanned every line carefully. In the light, he looked healthy. This must have been some time before he ended up isolating himself further from the world, before his perception of himself eroded those naturally beautiful features. Hair neatly slicked back like his father's, kind but curious eyes like his mother, strong jawbones that ran through the family and built like a string bean. It makes no sense. I have followed the same steps as Jervis from this tale, and yet I cannot summon the entity at will. Perhaps it is all in my head. What if Grandfather was wrong? What if I'm not able to learn his teachings? Am I destined to be yet another failure from the House of Gahard? Socially awkward awkward, barely able to look my own kin in the eye, let alone a potential companion? Not that I have any interest in that sort of thing. What is the point of my existence if not to be the looming shadow that haunts the manor as my elder brother's art continues to soar, my sister's education continues to excel, and my youngest eclipses me in both intellect and awareness? Phineas pauses, standing up, book in hand and fingers gripping the spine of the book tightly, before hurling it into the fire, spit flying from his mouth as he screams, "I just want to feel alive!" From the flames, something crawled out of the pit and towards the center of the room, circling the large rug before releasing in a column of fire. A figure emerged, clad in a thick black veil, multi-limbed and with desiccated arms, hissing as it leaned towards Phineas, the fire beginning to rush around the parlor. Lux turned to Asani, realizing they hadn't spoken since they'd arrived in the parlor. But instead of seeing them, something else stands across, watching the exchange intently. A beekeeper, their limbs twitching and oozing a mix of what appeared to be honey and pus as the joints try to move in a natural manner. The face obscured, barely meeting their gaze as it simply holds up one hand to display 3 fingers, before turning their attention back to the exchange. Phineas on the floor, staring up in disbelief at the spectre. What is this? Did I summon you? The creature did not respond. It couldn't, not in the natural sense. It instead held out a hand to pick him up, which he obliged, feeling its bony hands wrap around his own. Grandfather spoke of this. I thought of something akin to life and death, the technique which he wrote of in his journals. This is manifestation, the boon of my family. You are my patron. The fire began to rage around the room, licking at Phineas's heels as he saw the damage before rushing from the room in a panic, leaving the spectre who, within a few moments, dissipated, extinguishing the flames along with it. This was the night Phineas left the house, rushing for the shack in the cemetery near the family plot. You wouldn't see him again until
the night of your rebirthing.
The darkness, the rushing of the water, the impacting of the soil against your skin, the slow, painful drowning.
You are almost complete. Are you ready to go home?
From the hallway, something stirred. The same voice from the beginning of Lux's journey through their memories. Nulldus.
The lights in this home are all but returned, save for one. You know which one. Walk to that room and face down your fear. All will become clear once you do, and you will have the tools to fight back against the monsters who would see you wasted in a padded cell.
Lux didn't need directing, nor did they ask where Asani or the beekeeper had gone. They obeyed and began walking out of the smoldering parlor room and across the second-floor hallway to the east wing staircase. The west led to their parents' master bedroom, but the east. Lux began ascending, step by tentative step, as they recalled every moment they'd endured and enjoyed under this roof. Petty fights, cherished memories, achievements, and failures. Nearly 2 decades of their life summarized in a set of rooms inside a 400-year-old building on a plot of land. They stopped at the top of the hallway. Only 2 rooms lay on this wing, their bedroom and boarded up, chipped and faded wood, disused for the past few years. The workshop, Bennett's workshop. We can't. Not now. We're so close. We must keep walking. Tearing themselves away from the pain of this room, they made it to the steps that led to their bedroom, once a safe haven from the outside world and even the dissidents within the house. Now the site where their greatest betrayal occurred. The pair of beds, still situated on either side of the room, regularly used even when Lucinda and Lux had grown too old to be sharing a room, simply for the comfort it brought them as twins. The walls covered in portraits of art. His art, for how deeply did Lux admire the prowess on display whenever he painted. A reflection of the pain they felt, almost to a point that Lux was regularly on the verge of asking them if... But they never got the nerve. The computer still sat in the corner, next to the balcony doors, the website bearing The Last Giant Under the Mountain still up, as if frozen in time. The tabs for the Sturgeon Nexus, review of the celestial event in the Emperor's Kingdom, and forums for both local crime enthusiasts and speculation there, though Lux didn't recall making them. Lux just stood there, rooted to the spot, riddled with fear but fully aware of what was required as they took in a deep breath, focused, and spoke aloud.
I'm ready. Show me that night.
A boom rattled around the room as Lux was hurtled backwards and into the corner, the entire room darkening as time began to move. Lux and Lucinda asleep in their beds as a discussion between their parents echoed upstairs, only fragments of it eking through the wall.
They say they can do good work. Fix the issue. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
I'm not sure. We made this mistake before. Are you sure we should?
No, you're right. We have to be better. It may be too late, but we have to try.
All right. I'll tell him. We can discuss it as a family tomorrow and find a better path.
Time passed before Gael finally materialized into the room, the flies circling and buzzing as they stood in between the beds, observing intently, before placing a bandaged and rotted hand over Lux's mouth and disappearing. The walls broke away as Lux was transported to an art gallery, led by the hand as Gael pointed out the various drawings of La Serva, the art that had once so deeply inspired them.
This is where the pool of my existence bears fruit. I test divinity on them before we get to you, naturally. There's countless souls needing to be saved, but there is only one of you.
Gael spoke softly, almost lovingly, though the visage bore no familiarity to Lux.
You will be my greatest work. But it is up to you to take those steps, and we have a long night of work ahead.
They walk out of view as present-day Lux watches another man exit out of a room, well-dressed and with a manic smile on his face. He presses down on his outfit and ensures his teeth are clean before going to the door and answering as a young individual gingerly walks in.
You are our honored guest for this evening, I see. Welcome to Sturgeon's most esteemed art gallery, highlighting the great artist La Serva.
They continue to talk as they walk through the gallery, but Lux is pulled away, the building becoming smaller until new walls replace it. White. Pure white. A circular room with... No. Not this room. Not this person. Shaved head. Strapped into a movable slab, bruises and bites all over the body. Lux stares up at the eager face of Dr. Luan Coleman, who places something in Lux's mouth before giving them a gentle slap. Without waiting, Coleman walks over to the wall and pushes the switch, sending shockwave after shockwave through Lux's body. The pain is nearly indescribable, and even while watching it happen in a memory, Lux feels the pain renewed. We cannot stay here. We must not. Another time. Find him. Find Gael.
The burning, the biting, the invasion. No, I won't. We won't.
The rest is a flash, before one night being led by Gael's hand in a broken daze to the chamber, only to be sedated and lifted into an ornate coffin as Gael and Luan become the last thing Lux sees.
You will be reborn, or you will drown. It is time to find out what kind of monster you shall be afterwards.
The lid was closed, the coffin chained, lowered, and sat into the deep dirt. Then the water came, spilling into the coffin as a still dazed Lux fought desperately to escape, muscles too weak from malnutrition, and mind too scrambled from the torture they'd endured.
I'm gonna die. And that's okay.
Lux breathed.
Born so different, my own family feared me. Struggling to understand anyone inside or outside of my own home to the point I just stayed inside. Every time I so much as think of something, I make it happen and I'm shunned even further. All my life has led up to this moment, daring to exist and daring to be happy, daring to be peaceful. And what did passivity get me? Nothing. It got me torture, pain, suffering, and a fucking coffin in the middle of God knows where, suffocating. Fuck you, Gael. Fuck you, Coleman. Fuck this entire world for turning its back and blindly letting the most vulnerable in our society have their blood spilled on the very streets they take their families down. If I ever make it out of this, I swear to Nulldus, I will be the monster you want so fucking badly. I don't care anymore. You hear me? You fucking hear me out there? I am a monster. I am a monster. I am a monster. I'll be your fucking monster.
With every defiant shriek, another punch, more powerful than the last, smashed into the fine wood above them, letting in more water. But Lux was beyond caring. This was their last stand, and they would not relent. Punch after punch bloodied their knuckles as they continued until their fist finally broke through, utterly filling the casket. For a time, the casket stood still, until Gael appeared, standing over them with a sense of pride and retrieving Lux before dematerializing. This is where things began. The play, the confrontation with the Crown Prince and Bilbo, the eye looking in, the drill in the autopsy clinic. We have found it.
You manifested that world, Lux. You lived a half-life while Gael took you away and found solace in the very play you and your grandfather released with the public. But even in the depths of your manifestation skills, Gael found you and brought you back from the brink. Now, the question is, what will you do?
What will you do?
Gael's voice called out from the darkness of a dingy basement Lux was chained up within, the broadcast from the Sturgeon Nexus just ending. It had been some weeks, maybe even months that they'd been there, biding their time, waiting. Already messages had gone out to their loved ones. A direct message to Phineas, the stars to Lucinda, a tumor to dear Dr. Coleman, an Easter egg in the line notes of the play, and a directive to Bancroft. They weren't just waiting, they were gestating.
The one on the TV. I want him. I want him to know exactly what he's done.
Lux growled, bitterness in their voice.
Oh, I suppose that could be arranged. But aren't you worried about what people...
Fuck what people think! They already decided I'm a monster a long time ago. Enacting revenge on murderers will not change their mind. They'd sooner watch me flayed alive on national television for their amusement. I want him.
Gael smiled as the buzzing reached a fever pitch.
Good. There is some beautiful art to be made here, I think. perhaps through an old game. I think we've all the participants. We just need a little time. Which reminds me.
The shackles are removed and Lux rubs their wrists as Gael hands them some keys and a manila folder.
You should probably get cleaned up and take a read of that. Then, it'll be time to send out the invites. I'll give you a week to get your strength back. Do not disappoint me. Divinity awaits behind the gilded door for us all, if we play our cards right.
Gael's chuckle rattles around the room.
What's in here? What gilded door? I never understand you. Can you just speak fucking plainly for once?
Lux protested, weakly picking up the folder and seeing the title.
No.
Inner Sanctum Patient Report. L.C. Gahart. Written by Asani T. Walker. Lux's blood ran cold as Gael put a hand on their shoulder, power erupting through him.
In that file is the revenge you seek. I made sure to pull them out before the end of your journey, so the surprise would be more appropriate. As for the gilded door, it is where our gifts come from. Beyond this land lies a secretive community that guards a great gate that houses creatures of divine power. They speak to me, to us, asking for only pure souls to be prepared. For when the door is open, they will feast, and it will be glorious. This land is already divided. They feel they're shunning the unwanted, and the chosen is already decided, but they have no idea. Harper's Wake is only for those touched by the Null God. For us.
Lux's eyes shook and their backs seized up. Harper's Wake. The same place from the historical texts. The play. It was real?
This will help you, my child. Some revelations and a refresher course. I look forward to your righteous anger at the games.
Gael patted their shoulder before walking away.
Games? What games? I thought this was a gathering!
Lux called, watching Gael's large, malformed back shudder under the weight of his cackling, as he turned once more to face them.
Oh, indeed. A gathering for a most devilish game. You'll learn all about it in Oliver's report on the last giant under the mountain. It's called
White teeth, stained with blood and bits of flayed flesh still jutting out from his canines. Blood seeping down his chin. Yellow eyes still hidden beneath the bandages.
Shark Tank.
The pieces have been coming together. Are you paying attention, listeners? Maybe now is time for a binge before we go to the Shark Tank. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our other transmissions. We are adding them regularly, and we'd love to have you as part of the Dusklight family by subscribing, hitting the bell of bees, and you guessed it, more bees, and leave a comment with stories you'd love for my many-legged runners to find. I want to thank all of our patrons for making this possible. If you want to sign up, it's as little as $1 a month and you get exclusive content, early access videos and stories, updates, and more. But times are tough and we will always be grateful for support no matter what form it comes in. Financial, spiritual, corporeal, maniacal, whatever you want. It really helps us out. Dusklight gives thanks to our Sturgeonite faithfuls, Evan Diaz, Marianne Peck, Haley Clark, Foe, Gianni Di Lorena, Casper Norin, Pesky Opossum, Newman Borders, Rat Squatch, Scruffy the Janitor, Eurydice Oryx, Sparta, Elska Joe, Military Medic, Sabrina Alexander, Larry W, PRDL12, Jason Webb, Jimmy Ricardo, 21 Keys, Jack the Lad, Nathan Billings, J.I. Lara, Val Was Taken, Amy W, Dexter, P-Trip3, and Super Abyss. Our Purple Crayon Eaters, Feeny Von Karma, Max, Phi, Amara, Ashabel, Candyman Gloving, Mike, and Alex. Our janitors, Alex Nunez, Arkham Cookie, Amy, Adrian R., Heather Cayley, Scott, Death31, Sabile Eclipse, Joy Flint, Dux, Shane Lewis, and Allie. Our Nightmare Detectives, Fox Clifford, Melanie S., and Deliria. Our Void Walkers, Professor Creepypasta, and Josh Woods. And lastly, our Blackwell family members. Ethan Blackwell, the master of repo and infuriating outer gods, Jackal Blackwell, scourge of gas station sushi outlets, Clue Blackwell, the twisting, shambling horror, Tabitha Blackwell, wearing a muscle tee with Kaio's face as a skull she smashed, declaring herself Spine Queen, and Papa Kyle Blackwell, preparing his greatest weapon, the Spine Lord. We love and fear you, Papa. We thank you humbly for your patronage and look to see you bright and early for Dusklight orientation, purple crayons, and existential dread will be provided. And one last time, listeners, close your eyes and breathe with me. Remember, no matter how bad things are, how cruel people can be, and how heavy your shoulders may feel with the weight of the world bearing down on them, Dusklight will always be here to lift the load and provide you with some respite. Drink some hot cocoa with chocolate sprinkles and fat marshmallows. Have all the Halloween candy you can manage. Watch a video about liminal spaces and cryptid sightings, and sleep on the cool side of the pillow with the window open and the stars twinkling down on you. Start and end each day with kindness in your heart. You matter, you are loved, and every day is another chance. I'll see you again when the sun sets and dusk enters the station.